Alright, y'all, what's going on? It's Black Balloon, and y'all already know what's going on, man. So look, today we're here to talk a little bit more. We're kind of piggybacking off the last video I just dropped, you know, when I was talking about using the name Jesus, believing in Jesus, and with Pastor Stephen Darby, right? So in this video, I wanted to get up China McClain's clips, just a couple of her clips, you know, back when she was going viral for sort of exposing Hollywood and talking about God, talking about Jesus. And, you know, she was telling everybody how much backlash she was getting for, you know, basically fighting for God and being, you know, strong enough to spread the message of her experiences and her belief in God, right? And we all know how that goes. Now, I figured this would be the perfect time because I never actually did a video when she posted all that stuff. I think that might have been when I was really getting into making videos and editing videos on YouTube. So I just never did it. Once again, something hit me and was like, you know what? This would be the perfect video to kind of piggyback off of the Stephen Darby video we just did and just go in a little bit more with someone else's testimony about just receiving a lot of backlash when you're like, in a sense, you're like fighting for God. You know, you're willing to be a warrior and spread the message like I've been doing for years now on this channel since I started YouTube. You know, I just thought it was perfect because it seems like the more I say the name Jesus, the more I, you know, state my belief, the more like slack I get for it, you know? I thought this was just perfect timing to go ahead and run these clips. I know some of y'all probably seen a bunch of these because at the time I think everybody was posting it because obviously she was a Disney star, and to hear someone like her get on the internet and speak her truth about God and not being afraid and seemingly getting, I guess, blackballed from the industry. You know, it was kind of a shock to hear it from someone that came from Disney, basically. And y'all know we covered, you know, we did a couple of videos on Disney, Shia LaBeouf, Britney Spears. We covered a lot of people from Disney that we believe were, you know, MK Ultra babies and so on and so on. So, you know, when she came out with some of this stuff, it just kind of tore the internet up at that time. I'm not going to talk too much right here at this point. I do want to just go ahead and play the first clip from her, and I'm gonna come back in this video and just kind of, you know, go in a little bit more on the things that she's talking about. So check this out.
I know that there are a lot of people that are wondering why it seems like believers in God are always trying to like tell other people about it. It's like, why not just keep it to yourself, right? I've gotten that a lot since I started doing these videos. It's like, China, we get it. You believe in God. If you believe, just believe, and then like you don't have to make others believe too. But I think there's a little bit of confusion, and I am going to hopefully clear it up for you today as to why I do it and why I make these videos. This analogy that I'm going to use today is one that my dad told myself and my family a long time ago, and it always stuck with me. Okay, so we're gonna call it Michael McClain's snake in the yard analogy, okay? So say we're best friends. You come over to my house and we chilling, right? We watching movies, we listening to music, and I got like art stuff spread out, so we drawing and painting and stuff. And then I remember, oh shoot, I forgot to take my dog out. Just stay here, let me take him in the backyard, I'll be right back. You're like, okay, cool. I leave you in the room painting. I take my dog downstairs and I unlock the door. I'm like, come on, Cujo. And right when I'm walking out, what do I see? I see a snake in the yard. So I grab my dog, rush back inside, close, lock the door. And then I go back upstairs to my room where I left you. I see that you've gotten up and you're about to leave the room. And I'm like, wait, where are you going? And you're like, oh, I wanted to go to the backyard too, get some fresh air from these paint fumes. And I said, okay. I'll see you when you get back. So you go downstairs, you open the door, you head out there to get some fresh air, and oh, a snake bites you. So you throw it off of you and you run back in the house and you close the door and you lock it. You run back upstairs to my room and you starting to limp at this point. Your leg is hurting. you're like, China, I just got bit. There's a snake in the yard. And I say, oh yeah, I know. I saw it when I was going to take my dog out. What would your next statement be? China, why didn't you tell me? You saw me heading in that direction. I told you I was going in the backyard. Why didn't you tell me there was a snake back there? And I said, I don't know. I wasn't trying to force what I knew on you. So I just thought that you should learn for yourself, as we all should, you know, because I love you. So I was trying to give you that freedom. Does that make any sense? You wouldn't think that I actually loved you if I knew there was a snake in the yard. You told me, oh, I'm about to go to the backyard. And I just let you wander on back there without warning you of the danger. Now, if you told me, oh, I'm going to the backyard to get some air, and I said, oh, no, don't go back there. I just saw a snake back there. Would giving you that information be forcing something down your throat? Forcing my beliefs on you? No, it's showing you that I love you and I care about what happens to you. I do videos talking about God to warn you about the snake in the yard. That's the point. I was headed in the backyard. By the grace of God, I got away from the snake before it bit me. Now I see others heading towards the backyard. I know there's a snake back there. And so I'm just warning you and letting you know, yo, there is danger in that direction. And now you have a choice to make. It's as simple as that. You can either choose to be like, oh, heard you. I'm gonna go back the way I came. Or you're gonna choose to be like, China, I don't believe you. I'm gonna go back there anyway. Excuse me. Now notice, nowhere in my analogy, or Michael McClain's analogy, did I say that I was going to force you in the room and I was going to forcefully keep you from going in the backyard. That would be forcing something down your throat. I never said that. You your own person. You got free will. If you want to go in the backyard after I've told you that there's a snake back there, do your thing. You can go. You got to make your own decisions. But just warning you of the dangers. See, because I've been through certain things in my life, especially in the industry that I work in. So I know that God is real. And people can tell you all day, well, you don't know that. You don't know God is real. That's a belief. You don't know what I know. Only I do. If I ask you what your favorite color is and you say, oh, it's blue. And I'm like, you don't know that. Does that make sense? No, because only you know your experiences in life. Only you know what you know. Just like me. So I don't believe that God is real. I know God is real at this point, whether people believe that or not. That's the truth. Either way, I'm not going to force you to do nothing. Whatever decisions you make in your life ain't none of my business. They got nothing to do with me. But if I didn't tell you about the danger, I would not be showing you love or compassion. I would be showing you that I didn't give a crap about you. And it's funny because this situation literally just happened. Our neighbor texted myself and my sisters and was like, neighbor did that because they have love in their heart. This is how I show you that I love you. I have gotten bullied more for talking about God than I ever have in my life. Public school wasn't this bad. Like, for real, I did not expect to have people straight up cussing me smooth out for doing these videos about God. And I've tried to do it respectfully. I don't know why I was shocked about that, though. It literally says in the Bible, it talks about how spreading the word of God is difficult. It's not easy. Jesus is my example. He is the one that I want to be like. I am not required to convert anybody in order to secure my eternity. I have accepted that Jesus paid the wages of my sin on that cross when he was crucified. I love God and I love his son, Jesus Christ. And I try my best to live my life according to his word. I try my best. I already know where I'm going when I die. But what good is eternity in paradise if I have left a whole host of other people when I could have shared these things with you guys and you could have maybe made it too? What good is that? What really did I change? The afterlife is the most important part. We don't know how long we're gonna get down here on this earth. I could die tomorrow. If I warn you of the danger that I know is waiting down there and you still choose to go in that direction, I'm not mad at you. I don't hate you. It don't even affect me. But if you end up in trouble, just know that I tried because I love you So you can't be mad at me. You can't blame me.
All right, y'all. So off of that clip alone, there was one thing that was like really interesting to me that I literally just had somebody ask me this on the last video that I did. And, they were commenting that, they were asking with respect. They didn't mean no disrespect or anything like that, that they just wanted to have conversation. And they were asking me why or how do I know to believe in God? She literally just said the same things that I told this person in the comments on YouTube. And I told them that I know to believe because it's always been in me to believe. I grew up with no father, so I knew God was my father. I had personal experiences that made me establish that personal relationship with God. And it was basically what I told him. I can't remember my exact words in the comment, but the gist of it was that by creating that personal relationship. Now, obviously, a lot of people don't wake up one day and just say, hey, I'm going to create a personal relationship with God today and see if I can believe. Most of the time, it happens from something in your life. Like God always reveals himself even to the ones that aren't paying attention and aren't looking for it. Why? Because most of the time, that means it's your time. You're being called. Like they say, millions are called, few will answer, but millions will be called. You will be called to have your moment to create that relationship. Like he will show himself in your life. And it's up to you to be able to, kind of discern what's going on. This is something that I know wasn't put in front of me for me not to pay attention and realize that, this is God right here. I thought that was really interesting because I've actually had a lot of people ask me that question, but I understand because a lot of people are, in a sense, very lost spiritually. And they don't know how to connect to God. They don't know how to pray. They feel weird praying to something that they have a very hard time believing in, that it even exists in the first place. And I've also experienced that personally with people that I've known in my life. They're all not like me. They're all not like you, to where you grew up. You were, like, in a sense, chosen. You've always had the spirit in you. You've always had, you've been chosen from the beginning to know God, to believe in God, and to be able to spread this message. Like I had to accept that I was chosen for this, because I've reached now millions of people. And from the beginning, if y'all go all the way back down my YouTube videos, I was always talking about God. And still, it took me time to realize what my role actually was becoming, in my life. I don't think I've ever had a problem with, like, how she had the analogy with the snake in the yard in the beginning. I don't think I've ever had that problem with people, because I don't try to, like, throw all of my beliefs on people, because I understand, me, I'll take it deeper. I understand that not everyone will ever know Jesus or God. There's people out there that will never know him. And a lot of them aren't meant to know him. That's just the way it is. Or even if they had a chance, they denied it. They denied their godliness. Or they just full out don't believe in all this stuff. And that's perfectly fine, because God is sitting there thinking the same thing. He knows you got free will. It's perfectly fine. That's okay. You can choose not to believe, because at the end of the day, it's almost the entire point of the life that you were given, So I thought that was real interesting. I remember when she was dropping a lot of these lives and these videos, at that time I didn't quite pay attention, but going back and listening to what she said, you can tell she kind of hit a moment in life where she had her calling and she answered it, and she wasn't afraid. You could tell, like, she was not saying like she was just fresh and believing in God, but you could tell something happened to her, and it made her be like, yeah, I'm about to let these people know my experience. I feel like I have to start talking and, gathering some people and getting them on the God frequency, that this stuff is real and the devil is in our face. Because the time that we live in, that's exactly what it is. The devil is in your face more than God is in your face. So God in turn uses people like me and others to spread his message even more. And that's why we get flack for it. Because, everything out here is devilish, is dark, is evil. These kids, these teens, man, y'all know the leading cause of death for teenagers today? It's not disease, it's not drugs, it's gun violence. Look it up. Today, the leading cause of teenage death is gun violence. That's the devil. It made me think about the demonic youth video I did a while back. I should probably do another one because that topic needs to be talked about. But anyway, I don't want to get too far off subject here. I do want to play another clip where, she was just kind of talking about how science proves that God is real. And I thought it was an interesting clip for us to listen to. So, y'all, check this out.
You're going to ignore scientific evidence and all of these things that go against God being real. And I don't really know where that came from. I don't know who told them that science has disproved God's existence, but that's not the truth. Scientists may tell you that God is not real, but science doesn't tell us that. Science actually tells us the opposite, lines up with the existence of a creator, a being higher than us that created these things around us. And I gave an example that I'm going to share with you all, and I need you to bear with me. I'm going to tell you a little secret. This building that I'm in right now, before I go home, I spoke to the owner of it, and he told me something that he told me not to share, but I'm going to anyway with you guys. He informed me that this building that I'm in right now built itself. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but it's the truth and you should believe it. They left the land alone for like over 100 years. Came back to a whole building built, but no one built it. Do you believe me? You don't? Why? Have you ever met the builder of this building? Have you ever seen the builder of this building with your eyes? Do you know their name? Have you ever come in contact, even somebody you know that's met the builder of the building I'm in right now? Do you even know what building I'm in right now? What state I'm in? Where I'm at? None of those things. You don't know any of those things, yet you believe that someone built this building. Why? Is it because the building exists and you know buildings don't build themselves? That's enough proof for you to believe that someone built this building? You're right. It's logical thinking that buildings don't build themselves. And for this building to exist, someone or something had to build it, whether it was man, woman, child, machine, or something else. Someone built this building. If we came across a bunch of abandoned paintings at a junkyard somewhere, what's the first question we would ask ourselves? We'd be like, who painted these paintings? We wouldn't ask ourselves, I wonder if someone or something painted these paintings. No, the paintings are there. That wouldn't even cross our mind. The first thing our mind would jump to is who painted the paintings. Because paintings don't paint themselves. So if a building is proof of a builder and a painting is proof of a painter, and them existing, their existence is all the proof you need to know that there was a builder and a painter, why is creation not proof of a creator for a lot of people in their minds? Why does that not click in the same way? Why is the existence of water and trees and birds and lions and tigers and bears and us humans, why is the existence of us not proof enough when we cannot create any of these things. Doesn't matter how many genius scientists you put in one room and you say, hey, we'll give you as long as you need. We need you to create one drop of water, just one. No, you can't get water that already exists and then, work from there, work on that foundation. No, go from zero, nothing, to one drop of water. How long you need? You could leave those scientists to theorize and experiment until they all die. And you get a new generation in there to continue their work. It's not going to matter. You're going to come back to a bunch of failed experiments, theories, and no water. Because we're not creators. We don't create things. We can't give life. I've heard some kids say, well, my parents created me. My mom created me. And they did the act that, yeah, they had sex, which made your mom pregnant. But when I get pregnant, am I putting my little baby's bones together in my stomach? Am I forming their toes and their fingers and creating their brains and giving them eyeballs over these 9 months that I'm carrying them? Am I doing all of that? Surely not. Surely not, because I couldn't. It's more about what I don't do to mess up the process that matters. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs, Don't do things that's going to endanger the life that is developing inside of me. And the development of life is exactly the most important part of the conversation that I'm having with you guys tonight. Science is not separate from God. It's not God or science. No. Science is the explanation of God's creation, or at least the little part that science understands.
All right, y'all. So we all know that it's an age-old debate as far as what and how was this earth created? How did everything we know of come into existence? How was matter created? How was time created? How was everything created? How were humans created? Age-old debate, y'all, of, people not being able to understand a creator, not being able to understand God, not being able to understand that we weren't, we didn't evolve from monkeys. We didn't just happen. Our existence didn't just happen, especially if, life is basically contingent. It didn't just happen. Some people still to this day cannot wrap their head around that. Some people ask this is for the people that they think they know what they're talking about. They think they're kind of smart, and they'll be like, all right, so if God created everything, who created God? That question right there, I swear, anybody ever ask me that, I'll just stop talking to you. We're done. We have nothing to talk about because you've already made up in your mind that you believe, all right, if God created all this, who created God? It's like, yo, if God created, existence, if he created this universe with, just speaking, what makes you think something was more powerful in order to create him? It's not like, it's not a choo-choo train. It's not, oh, okay, God created the earth. God created everything, but then there was a creator of God. Then there had to be another creator of that God, and then so on and so on and so on. No, it don't work like that. If God is outside of this existence, then there lies your answer. But you first have to understand how God lies outside of this existence. Which after I'm done talking, I'm going to end this video with a clip that will just kind of blow the whole, nail in a coffin kind of thing as far as the science proving that God is real. But we all know scientists and physicists for centuries, they've been using science to prove that he's not real, while finding, in their theories and all of the stuff that they do, that God is actually real. because that's what God does. In fact, I've talked about this on my videos long ago. I've talked about how science began to show these people that God was real, because God is actually allowing them to find certain things that prove his existence to a crowd that does not want to believe that he is real. Some of these people, they think they're so smart. They are like baffled. They're like, no way God is real. What I'm studying, what I'm telling you, does not say that there is a creator. It says that everything exploded and the world just created itself, including a brain inside of a human. The sun and the moon just came out of a gigantic explosion. Creation just said, boop, boom, and there it was. These people actually believe that, and they still do to this day. But like I said, God will allow them to find certain things about this earth, i.e. dark matter. Find the God particle, find certain things about this earth that only explains a creator. Finding that there is a veil, there is a layer that is blocking off the spiritual world and our reality. God allowed them to find that. So think about it. And they know it. They know that, this was not something that was just, this goes back into like the CERN video and stuff that we did on the channel. Because this is where we talked about a lot of that stuff. Basically finding out that the visual matter of this world, which is everything we can see, touch, hear, measure with instruments, makes up less than 5% of this world. And that's not something that was always known. Dark energy, dark matter makes up literally the other 95%. So there's things to this universe that we will never quite understand. And I think my point of all of this is that there is no, there's no such thing as knowing everything. Then you would be God. So how could you possibly ask yourself, if God created the world, then who created God? There's just some things you will never know. But, being a true believer, God was not created by something or someone. God always existed. At the beginning of the tunnel, there's God. At the end of the tunnel, there's God. And in between that tunnel, there's God as well. And that clip, where she was talking about it, it made sense, because it's like, how can you not notice it? How can you not notice the Creator's handprint being all over everything that we see, do, touch, and hear? Anytime somebody says that kind of stuff to me, I just say, just go walk outside and look up in the sky. Just go look. It's right there for you to see. So without me trying to get like all over the place, and really get off a topic, y'all, I really just wanted to bring this video to the channel because I thought it was important, because I think today a lot of people, need these kind of reminders that God is real, man. And like I was saying when I was just talking about, teenagers dying and gun violence and all this crazy stuff, and the devil being more in your face than God is, that's your example right there. And it's only gonna get worse. Like I've said 1,000 times, man, we're living in a world it's not going back to the golden days. It's not going back to a time where you couldn't just, you could just do whatever you want, not think about life and, consequences and stuff. Because there's consequences for actions that you don't take as well. It's not always a consequence for everything that you do, but there are consequences for things that you don't do and things that you don't pay attention to. And now you're in a situation that you shouldn't have been in had you paid attention to it. And by that, I mean acknowledging God, like choosing to live different these days. Y'all not realizing everything is becoming repetitive. Everything that you do. I know it because I lived it. I still do live it. Most of y'all know what you're doing. Like, we all the same, really. We all on this, like, same conscious waves. I know what y'all doing. You don't realize how repetitive life is becoming? Especially if you got things that you want to stop doing. Just stop doing it, bro. Don't be afraid to live life differently. Don't be afraid to put your trust in something that you can't see. And by that, I mean God. Don't be afraid of these things, because once you open yourself up to these new possibilities, your life will improve and you will live the life that you always wanted to. I'm a testament to that. My life was very repetitive at one point, and I decided to change. I decided to do what I was being called for. And I'm not just talking about YouTube, I'm talking about personal things. And now I live a life that I never thought would come to me. Yeah, man. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and wrap the video up right here. I am going to end this video with a clip that a lot of you may seen before, but it's literally just going to put the nail in the coffin to this video with an exclamation mark. And yeah, man, so hope y'all enjoyed that video. Hope y'all could take something from it, you know, whether you know these things that we're talking about, you know, or not. I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. And as always, you know, y'all want to continue videos like this, anything y'all want me to do in the near future, please let me know. So with that being said, it's Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm out.
All right, your question, where did God come from, assumes that you're thinking of the wrong, obviously it displays that you're thinking of the wrong God, because the God of the Bible is not affected by time, space, or matter. If he's affected by time, space, or matter, he's not God. Time, space, and matter is what we call a continuum. All of them have to come into existence at the same instant, because if there were matter but no space, where would you put it? If there were matter and space but no time, when would you put it? You cannot have time, space, or matter independently. They have to come into existence simultaneously. The Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, there's time. God created the heaven, there's space, and the earth, there's matter. So you have time, space, matter, created a trinity of trinities there. Just, you know, time is past, present, future. Space has length, width, height. Matter has solid, liquid, gas. You have a trinity of trinities created instantaneously, and the God who created them has to be outside of them. If he's limited by time, he's not God. The guy who created this computer is not in the computer. He's not running around in there changing the numbers on the screen, okay? The God who created this universe is outside of the universe. He's above it, beyond it, in it, through it. He's unaffected by it. So the concept that a spiritual force cannot have any effect on a material body, well then I guess you'd have to explain to me things like emotions and love and hatred and envy and jealousy and rationality. I mean, if your brain is just a random collection of chemicals that form by chance over billions of years, how on earth can you trust your own reasoning processes and the thoughts that you think? Okay, so your question, where did God come from, is assuming a limited God. And that's your problem. The God that I worship is not limited by time, space, or matter. If I could fit the infinite God in my 3-pound brain, he would not be worth worshiping, that's for certain. So that's the God that I worship. Thank you.